I get a lot of people asking me how we were blessed to walk away from corporate America in our early 30s. Well, listen, I don't want to keep that a secret. I want to share it with the world. And so maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're trying to figure out, how do I even get started on my journey of entrepreneurship and getting to a level of freedom? Well, text the word freedom to 737 777 9909. Enter your information in, and we look forward to sharing some information with you. A proven system with small overhead, right? That you can do part-time, spare time, right from the comfort of your home, and have amazing mentors, coaches, and a community of entrepreneurs who are willing to support you and help you on your journey to freedom. Welcome to Code Freedom. I'm your host, Eddie Bales. Have you ever felt stuck? Have you ever felt like there's got to be more than life than the reality that you see every day? Tune in weekly, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays as we crack the codes to freedom in every area of your life. Welcome to Code Freedom. I'm your host, Eddie Bales, and this is episode 106. And today we have a very special guest, actually history for Code Freedom, because this is our first international guest, first of many out of London, England, and the UK, Miss Susan Ma. And Miss Susan Ma is a prosperity, success, and mindset coach. She is the founder of Prosperity Academy, where she helps people discover their amazing truth. She helps people express what they want in life on their terms by conscious design, manifesting whatever they want, aligned with passion and purpose. She also has had a career in military intelligence and also was a private investigator in Mayfair. She's also a property entrepreneur, and she's doing a whole lot of other incredible things, doing so much good in the world. She follows some of the teachings of Bob Proctor and so many other great thought leaders, and she's going to give us some major value. So help me welcome to the show, Susan Ma. Well, all right, guys, I'm so excited with the Code Freedom audience here because we have a special guest, and this is actually a first time having our first international guest out of the UK in London. So super duper excited about that. This is episode 1, and I have Miss Susan Ma. And so, Miss Ma, go ahead and share who you are and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Eddie, you know what? It's such a pleasure to be the first international guest, and I hope that my accent can prove the case. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm a prosperity and success mindset coach, and basically I help people and entrepreneurs overcome their limiting beliefs so they can get to their next level of success and feel that freedom that so many of us are seeking, and the freedom seeking us, believe you me.
Good stuff. I mean, that falls right in line with our podcast because we're talking about how people can be free. And most of it is mindset stuff. Like once you defeat the enemy on the inside, the enemy on the outside could do you no harm. Sometimes we know what to do, but we just don't do what we know. And there's a reason why we don't do those things. And you're going to help us unlock some of those reasons why we don't do what we know we're supposed to do. Like we know we're supposed to start businesses and provide value and help people. And we know we're supposed to do all those things, but why is it so many people are just not doing it? Even though we've been on training after training, we've read books and all these different things, but we still find ourselves stuck sometimes. So I think you're going to help us get unstuck, right?
Yeah, I'll definitely do my best. Yes, I do have an answer for that, which I hope will satisfy everyone of your audience. So the first thing is what you just described there is like a knowing and doing gap. So do you know that in North America, you currently spend about $80-90 billion on training to know more, and we have all this knowledge that sits in the conscious part of our mind, which is the mind where we take in information. Yet it's the action part that falls down, and the action part is what gets us the results after all. So what's going on there? And one of the key things, and I want to talk about the secret sauce to success, or to whatever success means for everyone, because it's different. But the secret sauce ultimately comes down to your self-image, which is the concept of yourself. It's what you think of yourself. It's the things that you say to yourself and what you believe you can do. Because you will never go beyond what you think of yourself or what you think you can do. That's period, because it's a belief. And that belief that sits in the subconscious mind, underneath the conscious mind. And it's like a program. It's a set point, very similar to a thermostat in your home, which regulates the temperature. So if it's on about, sorry, I'm talking about Celsius. I know you guys like Fahrenheit. It's like 21 degrees Celsius. It's quite comfortable. And we all know what the comfort zone is like. It feels very nice, but it's not a good place to be. And so what is this concept of self, and what is success, right? So I'll carry on, right, Eddie? So the first thing is, what is success? Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And that comes from, you're smiling, Eddie. Do you know who made that quote?
Norman, don't tell me. I know, but I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I know it's Nottingdale.
Close. Close. So close.
I have it on the tip of my tongue. I just can't. He's got that deep voice.
Yeah. It's Earl Nightingale, who was.
Yes. Oh,
Nightingale.
That's what I was trying to say.
He was Bob Proctor's mentor, and Bob is my mentor. And what do we mean by a progressive realization? It's the journey. It's not about getting to the goal, the success goal. It's actually the things that we do along the way that help us grow. And boy, as human beings, don't we just love to grow? We always want the next promotion or more money. Who wouldn't want more money? Unless you got a paradigm about that's sabotaging you. So that's what success is. Okay, success, if you're working towards something and you're doing something every day, you don't quit on that, you are successful. So that's number one. Okay.
I'm smiling so big because I just said that to someone the other day. And I say that all the time.
It's true. It's so true.
You said it like spot on, like you were in my head. And some of the things it's talking about, we've talked about on this podcast, from the thermostat to what story are you telling yourself about yourself? I mean, it's not to interrupt, but it's just such alignment. I'm just loving it. So I can't wait to shut up and listen.
I can't wait to spit it all out too. I'm so passionate about this as well, because this is all going to help people. Ultimately, right, I think we are all familiar with those ideas, those little invisible thoughts almost that come up and say, I can't do this, or I'm only good at doing this but not doing that, or should I ask for that raise? Am I worth that money to my client? Should I charge that much, or should I go back a bit because I don't know whether I'll get the job or not? Right. So we have all of these, and this is the program that's in our mind. And where did those ideas and beliefs come from? They would have come from the way that we were brought up. From between 0 and 6, our subconscious is wide open to a whole load of ideas from TV, radio, what our parents taught us, of course, their ideas, their ideals, our teachers, everything just came in. So think about what your setup was in your early childhood and how many ideas that you've adopted that may not necessarily be true, and they're not necessarily your ideas, but you took them and they're installed. So that's where the programming starts happening. And then as you're moving through life, you have an experience. And if that experience has a big emotional impact, that's going to drill that down even harder. Like when you might have fallen on stage. I've done that once. You tripped over and you've gone all red and blushed, and you just feel like you're not any good. in front of an audience, that idea may come in and it just creeps in because it was such an embarrassing moment. And so it kind of fills every cell of your body. So these are kind of like where these beliefs come from, but they're not necessarily true. And so there's two. So we talked about like the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. That's what success is. And I'm talking about self-image. And let me join the two things up, because the worthy ideal is our goal, or the star we're shooting for in life, the next level success, the next promotion, the next award, the next whatever it is, love. And we got to know what we're shooting at, first of all, and be really crystal clear about that. And it will always be a level above what you already have. So there's a gap. And where you are right now, you're vibrating. I'm going to talk frequencies here. You're vibrating a thought frequency of what you think of yourself. And there's a gap. And you've got to meet that gap, because there wouldn't be a gap if you had it already. See, that's the first thing. So how do you close that gap? And it's about the self-image. So let's talk numbers. So if you are earning, I don't know, $25,000 a year and you want to go for 100, there's a gap. There's a gap. There's a gap in what you say to yourself. What are the, you talk to yourself, am I worth it? There's this self-doubt that comes in. And you're asking yourself all these sorts of questions. Am I good enough? We're looking at our strengths. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. This is what I'm capable of. And we treat that as our truth. Think about the morning person. Who's a morning person? Who's not a morning person? Where did that idea come from? Because we were actually born perfect. No one told us as a baby that you couldn't walk. We all learned to walk. We didn't fall over and thought, well, I gave that a go, I'm not trying that again. No, we kept going. We were born perfect. But somewhere along the way, we picked up these limiting beliefs and these ideas, self-conceptualization of self. And we talk ourselves out of doing the very things that we are all capable of doing. We are capable of such great success. Whatever your desire is yours. It's yours to have. If you can think it, you can have it. That's the truth I'm sharing with you right there. We have an inner power. And the only thing that's getting in our way is the self-image. Now, the morning person idea came up because I don't know what happened. I actually got given a little dolly. It was a little beanbag doll, and it says, I'm allergic to mornings, and had a sleepy face. Do you know what kind of impact that had on my life? And that was a gift to me from someone I really cared about, and I slept with it. So that was going into my subconscious mind. So I've had to really work on that morning what we call paradigm habit. So we have to ask ourselves to move and close that gap. Do you believe you're worthy of that success? Do you believe you're worthy of that raise? Do you believe it? How do we change it? And I'm really happy to share with you that I said it was a program. The program got in there one way. And if you know how it got in there, you'll know how to change it. So isn't that great news? How would you love to be a $25,000 earning a year person to 100K? And you can flip that in a switch by changing your idea of yourself, what you believe. Would you like to know how to do that?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I know all of our listeners want to hear that.
And I'll get it even more spicy than this. You know, has anyone ever thought about turning their annual income into a monthly income, right? Because we want to create our own economy. We don't want to be going at the, you know, what's going on with the pandemic, what we can get from the government for support. We don't want to be relying on outside circumstances or allowing things from the outside affecting us, how we feel on the inside. It all comes from within first. And that's the mindset piece you said right at the beginning there. So the ideas, your self-limiting ideas got it there in the first place because it got there through repetition. It got there through people suggesting things to you, and it got through to you by emotional impact experiences. And the only way to change that is by repeating to yourself what you do want to believe. And it sounds kind of like hokey pokey. It sounds a bit too simple. Our minds love to overcomplicate things because we think life is complicated. It's not. It's not. And I'm learning from one of the best, if not the best in the world, from Bob Proctor. He knows what he's talking about. He put this material over 60 years, learned from Earl Nightingale, who we just mentioned before, who learned from Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, which is pretty much the Bible of the principles of success. So ultimately, what we want to do is figure out, what are we saying to ourselves first of all? And they will come when we don't notice. We have to start getting aware of our thoughts. Our results in life, everything that you see is a manifestation of thought first, what you were thinking and what you're feeling. And you can change your results by choosing what you want to think and feel, but we have to be conscious about this. And so start noticing, what are those limiting thoughts that are coming up about a particular task? There's some areas where you're super confident in, but when it comes, I don't know, to sales and selling something on behalf of yourself, but instead of a company, you get shy about it. But what's the difference? Because you're doing it for yourself and you don't think you're worth it. What is it? So we need to drill down what those things are, first of all, because those are the areas where we want to change. Those are the problem areas. Because we want to get back to being our perfection when we were children, babies, when we didn't think we can't. That's a terrible word. Just erase that from the English language. We can't. That's everyone just scrub that out. So let's call out our BS. And then the next thing is, right, we've written it all out. Okay. So say if it's coming to sales, about sales or being confident in front of an audience, you write all of those things out and just write the opposite and then affirm it. Affirm it. I am confident. I am. There's so much power in affirmations. We read it in all the personal development books, but if anyone says it doesn't work, it's because we need the consistency and the passion and the feeling. The feeling is everything. Just like going to the gym. We don't go to the gym once and expect to have abs and, solid muscular arms. You got to keep going. And it's the same with personal development and personal growth and success. Life is literally that journey, and life is our success, and what a blessing it is to be here. So we just flip it. We just turn it on its head. There may be a little bit more to that, but ultimately that is the essence. We just tell ourselves what we need to believe, and we do it enough times so that it becomes the dominating thought. If you ever felt frustrated about something, you become that point of attraction for frustration, if that is your dominant feeling. So we got to turn into the high vibes, because what you want is a high frequency, is a high vibe. And we attract it by matching that frequency. And you become a vibrational match. So first thing, if I can recap, I don't know how much time we got here, Eddie, because I can go on all day.
Yeah, I can listen all day, but keep going.
I just wanted, because I've talked a lot of things and I know I've jumped around, so I just wanted to just sort of summarize. The first thing is, we got to know where we're going. We've got to get crystal clear what it is that we want, and focus on the one thing that means more than anything to you. It's like you're driving from, I don't know, New York to LA. And, if you're just saying I'm going west, you're just going west. You could just stop off. What's west of New York? I don't know, Chicago, anything really.
Chicago,
everything, every other place.
Yeah.
Texas. You could just say, well, where is west? But we've got to determine how far west we're going. So we want to go to LA. So let's get specific and put that into our success GPS. Okay, so be clear. I know where LA is, and these are the stops along the way. So number one, this is what I want. So there's an income you want, focus on that income. Why do you want that income? What will that money buy for you? It's all energy. And then you need to match your image to that success, that level of success that you've defined. Who do you have to be to have earned that kind of money? Who do you have to be? And then that's where the self-image comes in. You start writing up some I am statements about the kind of person you have to be more confident. I am confident. I'm powerful. I'm an influencer. I'm influential. People love hearing what I've got to say. I'm hoping people are loving what I've got to say because I wrote that down.
I'm loving it. If no one else is loving it, I'm loving it. Matter of fact, one of the things that I say that I got from Bob Proctor is money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis, right? And I just love that because and so like I'm not ashamed to find a penny on the ground and pick it up and I'll say, hey, thank you for bringing this to me, because like I'll treat it like it was $1 million, because I'm like, money is drawn to me, right? And so I think that way. I don't repel it, I attract it. Yeah, so good stuff.
That is such a beautiful affirmation as well. I mean, it's just faultless, isn't it? It's just like, yes, please, let's bring more of it in. And yeah, grateful for every cent and penny. We've got to be grateful for everything that we have when we're growing. The first part to fulfillment, and I think ultimately most people, if not everyone, wants to feel fulfilled in some way, some kind of greater satisfaction, but you don't get there until you already feeling that fulfilled. Grateful for the home that we have, for the hot water that we have, that can be easily taken for granted. Yes, we may have bills to pay, but we live in a society where everything is safe. You know, we're not in a war-torn country. We have clothes on our back. There's so much to be grateful for and to be fulfilled about. And when you get into that state of being, you're vibrating at the vibration of fulfillment, happiness. And when you're operating and making decisions from that state of mind, from the person who you have to be, in what Neville Goddard calls the wish fulfilled, when you're making those decisions, you're operating from the end, because that's how you bring your future self with all the success into your present self, by ultimately being.
So good, so good. I mean, you made me think about too, when you were talking about how, you know, you have two people who are in the same situation, and one could be, you know, they could be really bad situations, but because of the one person's mindset, they like, okay, let's just say you got somebody who loses all their money, they go bankrupt, or just something really bad happens, they'll bounce back so quick because of their self-image and because of who they are, who they think they are. Like you've heard people say, I've heard people say that if you split up all the money evenly in the world, it'll at some point it'll end up right back in the same hands. Right? And it's just because of the way people think. It's the mindset, it's the self-image. It's like like for instance, you know, somebody could lose everything, and in a year later they can be right back at a high level of success, all because of who they see themselves as. It's kind of like a blueprint, like a success blueprint. And man, what you're talking about is just so good. So I'm just so thankful that you're here and sharing this with us. Let me ask you a question, because you gave us a lot of like value in terms of what to do and how to do and just ways to think. But how did you get to this place? I'm just curious a little bit about you. Like, what drew you to getting into these mindset things?
Oh, right. Okay. So just a bit of background. I got into personal growth when I was 19. I was selling books door to door in Ohio, rural Ohio. I had a lot of doors slammed in my face, but you need to have like a resilience and you know, positive mental attitude in those those sorts of situations. So so that's where I was first introduced to the material, to always have positive and joyful expectancy, because a lot of people are going to say no to you. It's just the way it is. Then I'll share a little bit of background. When I graduated, I joined military intelligence, as one does. And then I became a private investigator because as a child, it was a dream of mine either to be an astronaut or a spy. So even in that, Eddie, it was unconscious, right? That was a self-image idea because I loved watching all the James Bond movies and I loved all of those super cool comic book stories and things like that. I wanted to be the superhero. And it all comes down to this feeling of like there's something more for me, and I think everybody has that feeling. I feel like there's something more for me, and that's the truth. That is inner power talking. But just to bring it around, I in my mid-30s I ended up on the floor. I had a series of financial losses. It was a very emotional impact time, including losing my father's inheritance, bad investments, lots of things all happening at the same time. And I lost self-esteem. So all of that confidence I had as a PI just disappeared. And as an entrepreneur, following on from that, I was like never getting beyond a certain ceiling. I got stuck at a certain level because of my self-image. I turned to Bob Proctor, and that's where I learned about the self-image from Bob in The Secret. But it wasn't until much later. So I'm so thankful for him. I'm so thankful for everyone. I mean, I read all the books, went to all the seminars, and you have to go on this journey to discover, because it's only at a certain point it all clicks into place. When one message, after reading all these things, it kind of hits home to you. And I'm hoping that my message here will hit home to people listening in your audience and make a difference.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like what you want is in a safe, and you keep getting these clicks and this click and then click, and you never know what click is going to open up that safe. So I'm just thankful to have you here, because I know that you gave somebody another click that is getting them closer to opening up the safe of what they want. And so thank you so much for being here. You are I can't wait to have you again. I know we're going to have you again because this has just been so enjoyable. So any last things you want to share? And then after that, if you want to share how we can connect with people, how people can connect with you, because I know people are going to want to follow your stuff as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Eddie. Well, look, ultimately, just a few last points is that we do have the power to change who we are, not who we actually are, but what we think of ourselves, because that is everything. And that simple shift can literally transform everything in your life if that's what you want it to be, to shift it up basically, and break through those stuck barriers and getting to the next level of success for you. And if people want to reach out, I have a Facebook group called Prosperity Go-Getters. I always go in there live and share some valuable information, just like I did here, to help make a difference. And if time allows, I have an event going out in that group on Monday, the 20th of September for 5 days at 7 p.m. UK time, called Breakthrough to Your Prosperity. And you can register on prosperityacademy.co, prosperityacademy.co. So there we go.
Good stuff. Well, this was so exciting. And we just appreciate you sharing all those nuggets. And I'm gonna tune in as best as I can as well. So can't wait to join that group of yours. So thank you so much for being here. And hey, this is another episode of Code Freedom. And you heard from one of the best, Susan Ma, out of London, right?
Yeah, London.
Awesome. Have a great day, everyone. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for listening. Definitely feel free to take a screenshot of this episode, tag me in it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you find me on social media. I would love to give you a shout out. Hey, you might even get a prize. Who knows? But excited that you had a chance to take a listen. I hope you got a lot of value. And definitely feel free to give us 5 stars as well as a review. Show us some love, and we appreciate you. God bless you all, and see you all over the top.